The war against cul-de-sacs. The fact is that cul-de-sacs are the most highly prized and sought-after lots in the home buying market. They offer huge rear yards as opposed to a standard lot along a street and eliminate potentially high-speed traffic. They are thought to be a far more serene setting. They are most often located in premium settings because of either natural terrain, waterways, wetlands, or other factors. To the developer, they can charge premium pricing. Into the city, it increases their tax base. But there are both real issues and some false premises. Let's look at a typical cul-de-sac, which is typically a bubble radius of between 38 feet and 50 feet depending upon the municipality. The logic behind these radiuses are what the local municipality deems necessary for a fire engine to turn around along that radius. There's absolutely no other logic to the radius. Typically, these are closed-end streets, with walks to nowhere. They require a massive amount of pavement. Depending on the municipality and street minimums, the volume of paving required to fill the cul-de-sac is typically equivalent to adding more than 200 linear feet of street. So, from their perspective, they are somewhat inefficient. Also, typically homes are set at the minimum front yard setback along the right-of-way radius of the cul-de-sac. The combination of homes being close to the cul-de-sac as well as tight radiuses create an extreme pie-shaped lot with massive backyards. So, what's the problem? In northern areas where there is snow, the Public Works Department has to remove a massive volume somewhere, and that somewhere is going to typically be pushed into the front yards and driveways of the homeowners. So, after the homeowners have plowed the snow off of their driveway, the city comes along and throws a wall of snow back onto the driveways that the homeowner has to deal with. If there are mailboxes along this cul-de-sac, they're often destroyed by this effort. There are architects and planners who tried to convince cities about the evil of cul-de-sacs as if they are the Lord's gift to the automobile, which is blamed for suburban sprawl. It's almost as if by regulating against cul-de-sacs somehow that would lead to stopping the sprawl of growth. We're not here to argue liberal and conservative views, but the cul-de-sac has become the suburban equivalent of woke attitude, which is not justified as an excuse to fight them. So now that we have discussed both real issues for and against cul-de-sacs along with what we would determine just being strictly emotional objections, let's discuss how we can cure the ills of the cul-de-sac and move on. What if we simply made the cul-de-sac radius larger? Because certainly a fire engine can turn around a larger radius, and also set the homes further back. By enlarging the radius and making the lane one way, which is how people drive around the cul-de-sac anyhow, we provide a park-like central island that is now usable. The actual volume of pavement goes down, not goes up. The island, instead of having a volume of pavement that adds to the runoff of stormwater, can now be depressed to retain stormwater and create an attractive feature to the neighborhood, adding to the real estate values. In addition, instead of pushing a massive amount of snow onto everybody's front yard, the snowplow operator now pushes this snow into the central island, solving the largest objection of public works directors of cul-de-sacs in areas that snow. And longer cul-de-sacs where walking connectivity is an issue. The sidewalk goes through the new park feature added to the streetscape and continues along to the rest of the neighborhood, adding to the walking connectivity, not stopping it. Most municipalities have a cul-de-sac length limit due to fire and police access, and this limit is typically between 500 and 800 feet in length. The sidewalk that extends through the cul-de-sac into the rest of the neighborhood can be built to handle an emergency vehicle, thus eliminating the need for a cul-de-sac length limit for emergency services. The homes being further set back provides more of an elegant setting and does something magical. It can make the cul-de-sac as efficient, if not more, than a grid development. Let's explain. Let's take a look at the numbers of a standard cul-de-sac using Minnesota minimums of a 60-foot radius along the right-of-way and a 25-foot front yard setback. This will result in 8,500 square feet of paving, provide 4 premium lots, and have approximately 37% impervious surface. The total density would be 2.98 homes per acre in this example. Now let's look at the alternate. The only thing that we're changing is we're going beyond the regulatory minimums. This results in a 9,000 square foot usable island that can be landscaped, adding to the real estate value of the neighborhood as well as the attractiveness. The one-way pavement adds only 7,400 square foot, which is over 10% less than the standard cul-de-sac. Instead of 4 premium lots, there are now 8 premium lots, and by tapering the driveways, the total impervious surface is slightly lower at 33%. The sidewalk extends through the rest of the neighborhood so that all of the neighborhoods could pass through the pedestrian system and enjoy that park in the middle. The total density? Well, it's the identical 2.98 homes per acre. Let's explain how that is possible. Because the small radiuses of a standard cul-de-sac combined with short front yard setbacks produces an extremely angular pie-shaped lot. By increasing the radiuses and pulling the homes further back, the lots become far less pie-shaped. This relationship, which is based on expanding beyond the regulatory minimums to provide more, not less, also allows new relationships of the home to the street and interesting cul-de-sac configurations. Most cul-de-sacs are the result of pushing a button on a preset CAD system so that every cul-de-sac looks exactly like every other cul-de-sac. By making things bigger, we can vary the radius and vary the relationship of home to street to create more interesting and exciting neighborhoods. Not every neighborhood that we design has cul-de-sacs, but in those that do, we always use larger radiuses, more generous setbacks, and interesting shapes, where the cul-de-sac becomes integral to the pedestrian system. This solves all the practical negative issues of cul-de-sacs, and the only argument against them left is strictly opinion.